Here's your first view of the Redwood Cafe in Modesto, and what we're going to do is share with you the story behind it and what makes a successful restaurant. Okay, so what we've got here is the anniversary couple. How many years have you had an anniversary at Redwood Cafe?
4 years now.
4 years you come to Redwood Cafe for your anniversary. So what we basically do at the Redwood Cafe, don't know if you heard that, is we hit the gong. The gong, the noise is gonna go out in the ethos of space and the gods are gonna grant their wish. And now she's gonna make her wish and hit the gong. That was totally zen-like, very nice. Now yours, attempt.
Got it ready?
Loud and clear, baby.
Yes,
good
sir.
job.
Thank you so much.
Happy anniversary.
Thank you so much.
Happy anniversary. You enjoy your evening, okay? Thanks. So when the idea came around for Redwood, that's kind of like a down the road thing. The way that this thing started out was this property came up. We were made aware that this property was going to be for sale from a group called the Knights of Columbus, which is a Catholic men's club organization. And they were going to sell this property. So they came down the street and talked to another church who wanted to buy it. My ex-partner happened to be a member of that church. So we went down and looked at it. They wanted like $300,000 like, 30 years ago for this thing, 35 years ago. I'm not quite sure how long ago it was. And we go, we can't pay you that, but if you'll take $169,000, we just made this random number up. The guy goes, okay. So he goes away and we just don't think anything of it. Like 3 months later, he comes back and announces to us, you got it. What? They sent like 300 postcards to the members of the Knights of Columbus. Do you want to sell it for $169? Yes, no. Check the box, send it back. They voted on it, send it back. So now we got this property for $169. We're thinking we could take our pool company equipment, use the house as an office, and just wait for town to develop going out that way, and we'd be able to sell the land. It was like 1.5 acres or something like that right on a corner. So we buy it and we go down to the city and tell them that we're going to be putting our construction yard in there, and they go put the kibosh on it. They say, you're not going to do that. It's not zoned for that. We just put a big subdivision across the street of high-end houses. You're not putting a construction yard there. Not going to allow it. But the property, because the Knights of Columbus owned it, had a conditional use permit, which was a zoning variance that was able to run a banquet hall and receptions. So we looked at each other, we go, look, we got a pool company, we got landscapers, we got concrete finishers, we got everything that we could do. So we just basically made the investment, and you'll see some pictures of, we built this wedding facility venue. Then we're gonna rent it out. Well, the first time that we rented it out, somebody stole the knobs off the stove. So that evolved into, okay, now we're gonna be in the banquet business. So my ex-partner's sister headed that up. We started doing weddings, hiring chefs, doing banquets and so forth. Built that up over years. Got to a point where it was doing like 70, 80 weddings a year. And the pool business was all consuming, and I finally decided that I was going to sell it. So I sold the pool business, kind of semi-retired. And now my daughters are talking to me about, hey, why don't you build a restaurant at Vintage Gardens? Anybody that's ever been in small business is scared to death of the restaurant business because there's so many variable moving parts. You got all the personalities, you got the food, you can waste the food. People opinion on, is your food good? Is it not good? What's the ambiance of the place? Blah, blah, blah. It just goes on and on and on. However, if you look into it and you can make a successful restaurant and it becomes a part of the community, you can be a cash cow. And it can turn around and generate revenue daily because it builds up that clientele. And a busy restaurant is always a busy restaurant, or it can be kept that way. So I decided what else. I've sold the pool business. I'm kind of semi-retired. I'm building some pools on the side kind of thing, but not where I don't want to do any of the volume. I'm just doing it for friends and neighbors and people that know that what I can do for them, and that's going on. So we start developing this. Well, the city years ago made us sign a paper. The city and the county made us sign a paper that said if there was ever any development in front of the property, we would be responsible for widening the road, paying for all of those improvements, moving the sewer. I mean, it was a big amount of work, but it was in the country, so we didn't really worry about it. Well, one day we woke up, opened up the newspaper, Kaiser is going to build a hospital across the street. Well, I'm sitting there going, oh no. That means that, well, it's going to raise the value of the property, but I have to turn around and put all that money into building the road, widening it, doing all of this stuff. I've already signed the paper. It's not even a negotiable thing. The county's going to come out and say, we want the road out this big. And oh gosh, it's just like crazy expensive. And they were going to put a roundabout, like a circular roundabout, right on the corner instead of like an intersection. MID, which is the Modesto Irrigation District at the time, which was our electrical provider here, they had a canal that they basically did irrigation right next to our property. They put in what's called a head wall where they went down, they put like a pipe underneath the road so that it could support traffic and all of this type of thing. Back 900 feet on this canal, the big giant project, putting the hospital in, planning. Then all of a sudden what turns around and happens is somebody at a meeting goes, do you think it's a good idea for ambulances to be going around circles in front of the hospital? Go, yeah, that might look bad, So then they turned around and made an intersection. Well, that canal basically became an easy parking lot for us to expand, which we needed. So we decided let's build a restaurant. So we rebranded this thing. Redwood trees out in the backyard that we planted initially. So I wanted to go away from Vintage Gardens, which was known as like a wedding venue, and actually introduce a restaurant. So we decided to call it Redwood Cafe. Have you been to the Redwood Cafe before?
No.
All right, you got to hit the gong because you're a first visitor.
Okay.
In the middle. All right, welcome. We'll come back and check on you guys. We got to suck you in to be regular customers. So this is another part of the Redwood Cafe. When I first built the restaurant, the floor was actually located right here, and it only had a 6-foot ceiling. This was the only way in and out of this room, was up and down those stairs right there. I basically made a deal with a pastor that had people go to jail or go to church, and he brought these people in his flock 50 guys, potential inmates, came down here with jackhammers and jackhammered it out in 5-gallon buckets. We took everything out of it and then re-poured the floor with concrete coming down to the concrete pump. And now what I've got is a beautiful wine cellar that is stocked with about, well, Jerry, who's my head guy, restaurant man, tells me there's about $150,000 worth of wine in here right now. And, you can believe that some of this stuff's pricey stuff, so it's all nice. So like if you sit down in the room down here, it's just a relaxing environment that I'm so proud that I was able to create. And now that we're building new restaurants, wine cellars are a very important component of that. So get back to work.